Welcome to the Filmcast review of Predator Badlands. I'm going to read the plot summary from IMDb. A young predator outcast from his clan finds an unlikely ally on his journey in search of the ultimate adversary, end quote. Predator Badlands is the latest film by director Dan Trachtenberg, who has been tapped to essentially lead the Predator franchise at this point. I mean, he made Prey, he made the animated film, which strongly recommend. Check that one out on Hulu.
Killer of Killers.
Killer of Killers, great movie. And now Predator Badlands, his first wide theatrical release for the Predator franchise. And it just so happens here on the Filmcast, we have someone that used to occasionally be Dan Trachtenberg's coworker on the podcast, which is an incredible honor.
7 years every week, my friend. Occasionally.
Regardless, Jeff Kanata, we are so excited to have you on this podcast to talk about Dan Trachtenberg's new film. And I am
delighted
really
to
curious.
be here, Dave.
And I am so curious. What did you think of Predator Badlands?
Well, Dave, I guess you could say what I thought of Predator Badlands is best summed up in the form of a limerick.
Let's hear it, Jeff.
A film in the world of the Yautja should not just be seen from the coucha. Go see it in IMAX. And if you don't climax, I'll personally send you a voucher.
Well played.
Bravo, Jeff. Bravo.
Well
you went with the humor on that one, and I like that.
It's not possible for me to be objective about this movie, but I will say, to the extent that I can put myself in this position, I do believe that if I didn't know Dan Trachtenberg from Adam, I would still absolutely love this movie. It is a home run. It is such a crowd-pleasing, phenomenal thrill ride of an experience. It's funny and funny. A Predator movie that's funny. I mean, there's a few moments of light humor in the Predator franchise before now, but not really. This movie is just a delight. There's so many inventive ideas. I can't wait to get into spoilers and talk about some of the brilliant ways that the franchise is mined for wonderful ways to subvert itself, to reinvent certain things that we take as essential parts of this franchise, doing it in new and different ways. I mean, it's an audacious idea on the face of it, to have the main character be a predator, to have the character that we are supposed to relate most to in this movie be hideous to look at and a previously terrifying force in cinema history, to actually kind of relate to that. But and never at any point in this movie speaks a language of human beings. Right? It is audacious to even attempt this idea. And the fact that it is pulled off with such aplomb that, I mean, there are moments of just utter rocking back and forth in your seat, joy, ecstatic, thrilling. What am I watching? Loving the characters, rooting for the character, having a deep connection to this sort of found family that happens in the movie. I mean, the movie is really about found family versus the family that you're born with.
Hashtag family. Yeah.
It is hashtag family. And it is, it is a powerful notion. It's heartfelt. Like, it's a Predator movie with heart, right? But it doesn't skimp on the action. I talked when we discussed Killer of Killers that, that really cemented Dan Trachtenberg as one of the world's leading action directors. And that it is, it bears out in this film as well. There are just incredibly visualized action sequences that are clear and cogent and exciting. The world of Predator is expanded. It leaves room for all kinds of new stories in the Predator franchise. Elle Fanning's character is super fun, and the fact that kind of weaves in a different franchise and kind of overlaps that has been previously overlapped in comic books and film history as well. It just does so much right. I have to tell you a quick anecdote I went to a screening for this. I'd seen it in unfinished state, but when I finally got to see it at a press screening, it also happened to be, as is often the case, a press screening that is also coincides with like a promotional screening. So like a radio station will give away tickets. It was a packed IMAX theater here in Colorado that I saw this in, and I was sitting next to two guys that, as they were coming in and sitting down, were talking about what they expected.
Mm-hmm.
And both of them were extremely negative about the movie. They both sat down and were like, "Oh, dude, what do you think?" He's like, "Oh man, I'm expecting this to be the movie I hate the most this year." "Oh yeah, dude, me too." "Are you kidding? A PG-13 Predator? Are you kidding me?" I know I'm here, but
Jeff, I thought I told you to not share that conversation I had with that guy on the podcast. That's not cool. Yeah. That's not cool.
No, so I, because I'm a jerk, turned to the guy sitting next to me, and I was like, he goes, "PG-13 Predator," and I go, "Have faith." Have faith. That's all I said.
Yeah.
And then we watched the movie, and they were like rocking back and forth, and like bouncing up and down in their chair. And the credits come up, and I turned to the guy and I go, "You thought you were gonna hate it, right?" He's like, "Oh my god, I was so wrong. I was so wrong. It's my favorite Predator movie. Oh, dude, Amazing. It was so." And it was like, that was the feeling in the whole place. There was cheers at the end of the movie. It's just a throwback to the kind of movies that Dan grew up with, I grew up with, the kinds of movies that we started doing the Totally Rad show to talk about. These movies that were like in the 80s and early 90s that are genre filmmaking, but are giving you that kind of Spielbergian, George Lucasian, complete experience. That true. It's not here to just tie you to the next movie. It's just giving you a complete joyous moment at the movies, and full of emotion as well as action. I just, I love it. I loved it.
I think what's so beautiful and cool about this whole thing is those movies obviously inspired people like you and Dan and me, all of us on this podcast. And now Dan Trachtenberg has now contributed to the canon himself. Yeah. He has become part of the canon. And that is amazing and really impressive. Devindra Hardawar, your thoughts on Predator Badlands?
I mean, I will say, maybe I can be objective here because I like Dan. I like Dan quite a bit. We've been following his career. I'm not as tied to Dan, so I could say whatever I want. What I want to say is I love this movie, despite my earlier comments. And I think the design of this Yautja, the design of this lead Predator, goes back to that one iconic line in the first movie: "You're one ugly mother effer." That's unfortunate. That's my only sticking point with this movie. I think a Predator with mask, cool, badass. You look like a samurai. Predator without the mask, man, it's rough out there. I think this movie is fantastic, even though he spends most of this entire movie unmasked. Like, the mask is like a major point of it. But yeah, what is
some of the top? Just to piggyback off that, there was some consternation after the teaser trailer for Predator Badlands was released. I'm going to read to you some comments on that YouTube video. "This Predator looks like he vapes while listening to podcasts."
Hey,
this Predator looks like he about to drop a fire hip hop album this fall. End quote. I think there's some thoughts that the Predator kind of looks like a hipster. Basically, is
I don't
the
know
initial
about
reaction.
I don't understand. So apparently there's this whole like class of like online hate for this movie. Maybe those guys coming into your screening, Jeff, like, I don't know what's going on in these forums or these Reddits or whatever is good. Like the men have just like gone insane because they can't like recognize a good movie when it's in front of them. I'm just saying, I do not like looking at this character's face, and that is probably a bad thing for a movie where he's the lead character and you're looking at his face for 95% of it. So that was like the initial rough thing. I love a Predator mask. I love the masks look cool. Like
the masks look cool. The masks
always look cool. But anyway, beyond that, like, it is astounding. It's astounding to me just how great this movie is, because like you've been saying, Jeff, like we all grew up watching the same movies, and it's really cool to see somebody who grew up watching the same sort of action movies as we did, and also the same games too. Like there's a lot of like, I feel like video game progression in this movie, not in a bad way. It just feels like the logic of the narrative kind of flows in a way similar to video game, and maybe not all movies do this, but that worked for me. I loved how inventive every single set piece was. Dan is so good at framing certain scenes too. Like I feel like we've lost that. The just the idea of how you compose a scene. There's a shot of a giant monster coming at the predator, which reminds me of that great shot of Jon Snow and the like horde of bad guys coming after him in Game of Thrones. Just so many different sequences. Like this movie, it's a feast. It's a feast for the senses. If you like action movies, like it's always doing something new and cool. It is funnier than I expected. Elle Fanning starts off as a sort of annoying character, but I think she really grows on you. It mixes all sorts of different things. I love the found family bit. There's a lot of like samurai movie stuff in here too that I really appreciated. There's a love of like wide shots. Love to see it. Not too much shaky cam, not too up close. Like you're just seeing the action, and I think that's all just fantastic. And yeah, just want to shout out like just everything about this movie, including the lead guy, which I feel like not many people are talking about, but Demetrius Schuster Koloamatangi. We'll never see, we don't see his actual face in the movie, but he is, as a presence, a very like evocative predator. He's doing a lot of stunt work from what I can see, and it just looks effective. You could tell he's a tough dude. But I also love how they created a predator character who's sort of like the runt of the litter predator. So you feel something for him. Like there's a major dramatic thing that happens at the beginning. You feel for it. So this movie is balancing a lot of things in ways I didn't expect. Yeah, I got over the predator face. I was happy when he got the mask, though.
So I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was a blast. I consider Dan Trachtenberg a friend. I just want people to know. So like, you should feel free to not take my review seriously in any way. But I had a great time with this movie. It is wildly ambitious. Like this movie had a reported budget of about $105 million. They tried to make a movie that was like a $200 million movie, right? Like I think virtually every single shot in this movie felt like it had visual effects in it. Like 90+% of the shots. And so it's wildly ambitious, and I think largely succeeds at what it's trying to do. Something I've really admired about Dan Trachtenberg over the years is he's had a lot of opportunities to do projects that are less interesting than this.
Yep.
And he has not done many of them. And some of this stuff has been reported in the news, and some of it has not been reported. And Jeff, you and I just know about it. But he has declined to do a bunch of stuff that he's been offered because he has specifics. From what I can tell, he only wants to do things where he can show people something new, where he can do a take that hasn't been done before. And this is definitely that, right? A huge portion of it in Yautja language, this kind of bonding with this machine that's played by Elle Fanning's character, all the different components of it. The fundamental core emotional journey of the movie succeeded for me, which is I cared about this predator. I cared about this predator character, this Yautja character, and wanted them to succeed in whatever they were doing. I got emotionally invested, which is not something I've ever done in any Predator movie before, unless the main character was really annoying, right? And
sorry, Danny Glover.
Yeah. I mean, sorry, Danny Glover, Predator 2. I was rooting for the Predator in that one as well. Anyway, point being, that's a huge achievement right there, right? And so fundamentally, I think the movie succeeds at what it's trying to do. In addition, there's just so many other ambitious concepts that the movie is trying to achieve that we can get into more in spoilers. This has been in the trailer, so I don't think this is a spoiler, but there's a bunch of Weyland-Yutani stuff in the movie. And in my opinion, it's awesome. Like I thought all the Weyland-Yutani stuff was incredible. Just the references to stuff that we already knew, the introduction of new parts of the lore I thought were great and done very organically, not in a way that I'm like, oh, like this is really jarring if you don't know what the Alien franchise is. So I loved all that stuff. I have one big issue with the movie, and it's not the Predator's face. It is the tone. I think that this is a PG-13 Predator. I don't actually mind the violence. Like, I think actually what I mean by that is I think the violence is sufficiently hardcore for a Predator film. Like, I was not thinking to myself, oh, they pulled their punches because of the PG-13 rating. I never really had that thought occur to me. But there are some parts of the movie that are really silly and goofy. And I think that the movie doesn't really set itself up for that. Like, the opening parts of the movie are really self-serious. And there are other parts of the movie that are like quite terrifying and upsetting. And then there's stuff that's kind of corny, in my opinion, and it didn't mix well. Some people have referred to this movie derogatorily or pejoratively as like a Disney Predator because obviously the Disney Corporation has made it. I don't know if I'd go that far. It's hardcore enough that I think that's going a little too far. But I do. It does sometimes feel like, wow, did somebody want to inject some lightheartedness into this movie in a way that feels kind of inorganic? Because it feels like this movie wants to be more dark than I think it is. Because there's other parts that are really kind of silly and like action sidekicky in a way that I found distracting. Now, I will say the flip side of that is this movie opens up the Predator franchise to a whole new whole new groups of people that it would never have had access to if it didn't have this PG-13 rating and this lighter tone. My friend's friend, my wife's friend, I should say, saw this movie with her two teenage boys, and it was a blast. They had an amazing time. And she called it a fun romp. Now, for some people, that's like, okay, that's sacrilege that a Predator movie is a fun romp. For me, I'm like, okay, well, don't take yourself too seriously. A lot of these Predator movies are actually quite bad. So it's like, you know, if Dan Trachtenberg wants to make it into a fun romp, like, why not introduce more people to the franchise? And by the way,
Dan Trachtenberg has made most of the good Predator movies, aside from the first one. So let him go. Let him cook.
Let him cook.
Yeah.
And,
if you want the hardcore one, go watch Killer of Killers.
Right. Go watch Killer of Killers if you want some more hardcore violence. Right. Like, even Prey, right, I would say is like much more serious than this one. So I'm just saying, I wasn't as big of a fan of the tone and like the different tones and how they mix together in this film, but I recognize that is one of the film's strengths and also probably a part of why this movie is such a massive box office success this weekend.
It's wildly appealing. Like, it is worth pointing out, there's not a single human in this. So part of the reason it could be PG-13 is that most of the violence is towards synthetics and aliens, CG creatures and robots. So it doesn't matter how brutal you get.
But a cool magic trick, actually.
Yeah, nicely done.
It's cool. The tone didn't bother me, Dave, but I could sort of, the beginning is so serious and so dramatic, like
upsetting.
It almost feels like
it's really rattled me. I was like, oh wow, this is like brutal watching this
because
opening.
It's so it's so you're too good. In fact, your skills at producing a dramatic opening are too good, so that by the point where things get a little sillier, you're not quite there. I often think back to, I talk about this a lot, the opening of Guardians of the Galaxy 1, which is such an amazing balancing act.
Yes.
You are watching a young boy watch his mother die. Worst moment of his life. He gets abducted. Cut to fun romp through an alien landscape.
Right.
And like the way that movie introduces you to the vibe of Guardians of the Galaxy, that is masterful and like helps you expect it. This movie could have maybe used a little more fun banter with the brothers at the beginning or something to kind of set that up.
I think Guardians of the Galaxy is a great poll as a comparison. I feel like you were comparing it as to it should have been more like that, but I think in both cases,
just the opening. Some saying,
I see. I think in both cases, it's a throwback to that sort of 80s sensibility that I think Dan hits so well here. And maybe that's why it doesn't cause a problem for me, is that it obviously we had a lot of movies in the 80s that were self-serious and, but the kinds of movies that I was watching at the age I was at that time, like that's like, this is the Predator movie that I would have wanted at that age. This is this is the kinds of movies that I loaded up on VHS and watched until the tape frayed. It has everything. It is. I understand that for you, Dave, that those tones don't mix well, but for me, that's what I love, is the variety of, it can be, you've got different songs on the album. You've got the ballad on the album. You've got the rock opera on the album. You've got the, you know, this hardcore song and this sad song. That's what I ideally want out of a film. Sometimes, I mean, not every film, but you know what I mean? This kind of pure entertainment, like, you know, escapism, I think works best when you can cram the whole spectrum in. And I find that to be dazzling when I'm laughing one moment, on the edge of my seat the next, you know, amazed by the spectacle the next, and, you know, care. So I love
and maybe when I watch it again, like, I won't feel the same way because I'll expect, but like the opening of the film like really set me up for a movie that I did not end up watching. I watched a different movie that also had a lot of great things about it, but like it was kind of jarring to me. I will say one last thing. I will say one last thing. I want to move to spoilers. In the culturally relevant classic Avatar by James Cameron, there is a speech that Colonel Miles Quaritch gives at the beginning where he says, "Out there, beyond that fence, every living thing that crawls, flies, or squats in the mud wants to kill you and eat your eyes for jujubes." He's talking about Pandora, of course. By the way, then Pandora turns out to be like pretty cool. Like, not that many, you know, not that many things that can kill you, or like it's not a big deal. This is the place he was talking about, right?
I had that same thing
where like everything can kill you, like grass and trees and all the different. It's like, this is the thing that Miles Quaritch.
The flowers will kill
Pandora.
you.
Pandora's awesome. Like this.
I had that same thought.
Yeah.
I also want to shout out the sound design and score, which is phenomenal. Like, see this in a theater that has epic sound, because it is rad. When it kicks in, when you're in an action sequence and the score kicks in, it is awesome. The sound design is phenomenal. It is really a feast for all the senses, this movie.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead, Devin.
I want to say you get a sense like the sort of kid in a candy store vibe with this movie. Like, that's what it is. If one of us, anyone listening to the podcast, you get to picture ideas for your, you know, best Predator movie or something, like your own take on the franchise. That's what this feels like. So that's why I also want to say, like, the tonal like changes later on. I love that. I kind of love when a movie kind of pulls the rug out from under me and does different things. But I also know you, Dave, and it's like, yes, total consistency is an important thing too.
I don't even think that's necessarily true. I just think, honestly, the serious parts of the movie are really well done. Like you said, it's too good. It's literally it's upsetting to me, right? Watching in a good way, right? And then to have this whiplash of, oh, we're like goofing off, and it's like, it just felt really weird to me. But anyway, let's get to spoilers for Predator Badlands starting right now. All right, we're in spoiler section for Predator Badlands right now, and a couple things to shout out. I mean, first of all, some of the action concepts in the movie have basically never been attempted before, and that is really worthy of shout out. The biggest one that comes to mind is having an action scene with just legs. I mean, just the ingenuity, the will it takes to think that up, and then and like, you have to imagine as they're shooting this thing, it's like, oh, Dan Trachtenberg is gonna be like, trust me, this is gonna work. Like, this is gonna be these legs running around, and they're gonna kick out, and, you know, and they're coordinating, and people must be like, oh, okay, I guess it might, and it totally works in the movie. But boy, that must have required a lot of faith that was going to work. And it's just like, wow, like,
incredible,
amazing.
Something like, that could have come off as silly and doesn't, comes off as badass. I think.
I think it's kind of badass with some funny, like, you could tell the guy who's making it is smiling the whole time. Like, this is hilarious.
Sure, it's fun,
right.
but it doesn't come off as. I didn't think it came off as goofy at all.
No, I didn't think so either. I thought it was very good. Very good.
The thing that I know Dan thinks about, and I think he's so good at, and it's one of my favorite things in movies at all, he is so economical with his setups and payoffs. Every single thing he introduces is paid off in a new way later in the movie. Everything. Every weapon we are introduced to, everything he encounters, that Deck encounters in the world is later is a setup for something. It doesn't feel like a setup for something, because in the moment it is also dramatic and interesting and cool, but you know, when he later assembles his sort of organic predator
Yes.
arsenal, you realize every single thing you were shown, every
Yes.
single thing that every trial and tribulation he went through is then plucked and utilized later for some greater purpose. And that to me is so satisfying. I find that to be such high level filmmaking on a conceptual level, because you're not just doing one thing at any given time. You're doing multiple things.
Right. Right.
You know, everything serves for, you know, two versions. And I love it. I love it.
Well, beyond that, the part at the end where he assembles all of his organic outfit is kind of the emotional climax of the movie as well, because he has spent his whole movie trying to brute force his way through this planet.
Yeah.
And then realize, oh, like, actually, if I use my brain instead, like, that's actually better, rather than try to like kill this thing with a blade. Like, if I use what I learned about the planet and like absorb it into myself, that makes me more successful. So that's great. I want to say another huge highlight of the movie for me is Elle Fanning's dual performance as Tessa and Thea. I just thought I think it's the Tessa one that's evil, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
And that character was so badass and threatening. I just found her to be a very fearful presence. I was tickled at the whole, Mother and the whole Weyland-Yutani like connections, having just seen Alien Earth and Alien Romulus, right? Like, I thought those connections were really well done. And but you're right, Jeff. Very economical. Like, there's things they don't explain, like, oh, why did they give us emotions? I know she explains like it's so we could help exploit the creatures, but like, you know, I have a few more questions about that. Like, what was what's the process after they have the emotions? Like, I think it's actually just generally a bad idea. But you know, at least there's some explanation.
Yeah, we've never done bad ideas as humans with technology.
Certainly not at large corporations.
Weyland-Yutani is not known for bad ideas. Okay.
Weyland-Yutani has never made a misstep. But yeah, it's very economical. It's a tight script. I think it's like really well done in terms of the setup and payoff. And Elle Fanning is amazing in it because she's playing two completely different roles. I think she's very convincing in both. Side note about Elle Fanning, there's so many times that Dan Trachtenberg made things harder on himself while making this movie, right? Like, oh, he's gonna carry her like a backpack, and it's like, how the hell do you even pull that off? Like, literally, how do you shoot that? And you can see some of the behind the scenes, and she's wearing like green screen leggings, you know, like, but it's like
lifting her.
They had a hoist. Like she's in a harness, and it's crazy.
Right. But the effect, in my opinion, is completely convincing. Like, I spent the first few minutes trying to figure out how did they do that, and then after a few minutes, I just gave up because I'm like, this is just really well done. Like, I'm convinced that this is what actually was happening. And
they made like a hiking harness because you see like parents lugging big kids through trails. Like, it's basically that.
Too big for stroller.
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
but you can't. But her legs need to be supported. Like, you can't just like actually drag her along. So
those hold the legs up too. So
right, it's amazing.
You got to be strong for it.
It's one of my sadnesses of the film is like I loved that whole dynamic. Like, I expected that to be 80% of the movie was that dynamic, and then of course the movie pulls a real surprise on you, which is like at the end of Act 2 they capture the Callisk. And I did not expect it, right? And then all the rest of the movie is with like the two robots and Tessa and Thea and their rivalry as well. So
I love when she finds the legs and she's putting them, you know, meticulously.
So cool.
And then it knocks her legs back off. She's like, come on, you know, she just had the legs.
I know that was amazing, but the visual effect of her as someone, it was so. I was like,
weave,
and like, I wanted to get a clear view of that because I was like, this is so cool what is happening on screen. But of course, they give you just brief little glimpses of it. So it's very tantalizing. Anyway, those are some of the big kind of highlight moments for me. Love the kind of razor
grass.
Right? Very cool.
So cool.
Yeah.
And then, you know, again, every single bit of that coming into play later as a weapon that he utilizes.
Yeah.
And all of his weaponry is rad too. The freaking, the laser sword, of course, but like the laser grappling hook thing that at the beginning of the movie that like lets him go up the mountain. his wrist spinny ninja
Right.
star. So
Well, I
cool.
thought it was great that he spends all this time putting together his weaponry, and then he doesn't get to use a bunch, right? Like because he
Right.
gets attacked at the beginning, and so I
Yeah.
thought that was like a really brilliant subversion of
Mhm.
there's several points in the movie where the movie surprises you. You think
Yeah.
the movie's going to be one thing, and then it becomes a different thing entirely, and that's a great feeling to experience when you're.
I
in the
also
theater.
love the buildup of the Kalisk as being unkillable.
Yeah.
And you don't really understand why, and then he just beheads it, no problem.
Yeah.
And then it goes. That's why it's unkillable, dude.
And it's like, oh man, and like it's like, oh man, he is so screwed. Like
it's awesome.
There's this sinking feeling of like this is gonna go real badly. So
Yeah.
I enjoyed. So I love the opening sequence with him and his brother when he's about to like behead him. I just thought that was like you can that was the most effective performance moment for me where he's
Mhm.
the character needs to not cry out for help or be a coward and show weakness, but he's obviously really unhappy about being killed as well, right? And so I just I loved the way he kind of conveys that emotion in when he's about to die, and then of course his brother ends up saving him. So it's a really effective moment.
And again, using that laser grappling hook
Yep.
for another purpose, like everything is used for multiple purposes. I also love the visual effect of the little flap of skin. It's so
it like vibrates
thin.
a little bit. Yeah.
And when he breathes, it like goes in.
Yeah,
It's
So
a
good.
real mask, right? Like it feels physical. The prosthetic, or is it all
Most of it
digital?
is CG.
yeah.
Wow.
I think most it felt CG. That was another thing. Is like I can't believe you're going to do this whole thing. If he had a mask on,
Yeah.
then you could have done the whole thing with prosthetics. You wouldn't need to do CG to animate him talking. But then most of the movie he doesn't have the mask on, so it's like
Mhm.
wow, like he's making it harder on himself, Dan. And,
Everything's harder.
yeah,
Yeah.
everything's harder. And so I gotta say, I really enjoyed the ending as well when he faces off against his father, and then he anticipates that he's going to use the invisibility cloak, so he like activates the thrusters or whatever on his plane,
Mhm.
and I was like, oh yes, because he's using his brain. He's outthinking his adversary.
The idea that you have to earn your cloak is rad.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's cool.
and then the mom shows up at the end, and the heavy implication is that this character is going to be way more badass.
Mhm.
Than
Great
any
intro to
character
that,
you have
by the way.
seen prior to
The whole setup for that cap off. That's my
Yeah.
mother. Cut. Love it.
Yeah.
Want to clap in the theater. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really good. That was really good. I'm also going to, speaking of like clapping moments, I will just say I had a feeling when I was watching the beginning of this film that Dan Trachtenberg was going to do something really cool when it came to the title card reveal of the film.
Yep.
Oh, wasn't that a rad moment?
It's pretty
and I
rad.
was like, okay, that's very good. Like,
Yeah.
and it could, with all the 20th
Mhm.
Century Fox like logo, it's like, okay.
You have one time to do it.
Yeah, you
And
can do
that's
it.
partially what I mean by the way he frames certain shots. Like that is
Yeah.
framed perfectly to just display that title.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. That was very good. That was very good. So
The other thing, I mean, I don't want to speak out of turn here, but I will say that I saw the movie in a early state, and it's amazing to me the tweaks that turned it from what I thought was a very good movie to a goddamn home run. And the fact that he knows and like how you can get from
right.
it's almost perfect, it's almost working, it's almost there, to it's there, and how little it takes, how little it takes to let these concepts land. It's I don't want to speak, I don't want to give any particular details, but there are a number of things that in the first cut that I saw, I was like, I see what you're getting at there, and that's a cool idea, but it didn't quite work. To like in the final movie going, oh no, it absolutely works, and you didn't even change that much. You just add a tiny little thing here
Right.
that just clarifies it and makes it very, it galvanizes it for the audience. That is, I think, the true skill. That following your taste and your intuitions and being able to understand what the audience needs to have something fully land beat by beat, man, that is an incredible skill. And I'm in awe
it can be a matter of frames, right? It can be just frames, half a second.
A tiny shot here of just adding one little bit, one little moment, one little look, changes everything. And just that is impressive, man.
Yeah. Anything else we want to highlight about the film? We'll probably be talking about this film a little bit more over the course of the next few weeks. Hopefully we'll do an After Dark with some more discussion of it at some point. So you can look forward to that. But yeah, anything else we want to say?
I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to another one. Like that, it's clearly a great setup for another one. I hope Dan gets a chance to, but I also hope he gets a chance to like do other things too. Because I do wonder if he's stuck in Predator land for too long, you're gonna go crazy, man.
Yeah, it's cool that he's taken ownership of this franchise, but I hope he gets to do other interesting things.
Yeah. Or maybe he'll be like James Cameron in Avatar. He's like, all the stories I want to possibly tell, I can tell through the Predator universe, right? Like that's James Cameron's ideas. Yeah. So
who'd be great to make future Avatar movies? Just putting it out there.
I mean, James Cameron he is out there, or it has been reported that he is a big fan of this film. So
this movie is like an application for, please, sir, can I have an Avatar? That's great. That's great. In fact, I like this more than the first Avatar a whole bunch. So yeah.
Wow. Yeah. All right. Well, at the end of the day, it is extremely impressive that Dan Trachtenberg made a movie. Thank you so much for watching this video of the Filmcast. Check out these other videos that we have available, and be sure to hit like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to get other videos from us in the future.
You can also go to thefilmcast.com to catch all of our audio podcast versions of all of our episodes.
And support this podcast at patreon.com/filmpodcast, where you can sign up for ad-free episodes and exclusive After Darks.
Thanks so much to everyone who makes the Filmcast possible.